I'm back to being a K-drama queen today, and I'm sure all of you know which drama I'm gonna review. Its last episode aired yesterday. I mean, it can't be any more fresh than it is. In our minds, it would be a crime for me not to talk about it. So let's get into my review of Moon Lovers Scarlet Heart Ryeo. Before I even begin talking about this drama, I've noticed some of you guys have been upset with me that I give out too many spoilers in my reviews. First of all, I'm really sorry for that. I didn't mean to spoil the experience for you, but these reviews are made for people who have watched this drama. So if you haven't watched this drama yet, there are gonna be spoilers in this review, like really heavy spoilers, very heavy ones. So for the sake of your own well-being, let me just give a huge disclaimer to all of you. Spoilers ahead. Do not cross past this point in the video if you haven't seen the drama. Thank you very much. Let's move on. To me, this drama was generally almost perfect, and I throw the almost in there because after watching dramas for a better half of a decade, I just developed high standards. There are just so many little things that can go wrong in a drama, and I just notice those things and I can't help it. But with all honesty, this drama was this close to being absolutely perfect in my eyes. The reason for that is that I judge a drama by the first and the last episode mainly, because whatever happens in between, it may be great, it may be not so good, but the initial impression you get from the first episode and the last kind of concluding feelings you get at the end is what really shapes your opinion at the end of the day. So when it comes to Moon Lovers, I love the ending. I thought it was really well done. I thought it was really real. And some of you may disagree with me, and we'll get back to it later on in this review because there have been some conflicting opinions that I've seen on the internet, so we'll talk about it. But when it comes to the beginning, the first episode didn't make me want to continue watching this drama. This may only be me though, because I have a certain appreciation for historical Korean dramas. I absolutely love history. I think it is so interesting how people develop throughout history and how their traditions and culture just evolve into this whatever we have now, really, where I just don't want it to get mixed up with the 21st century, with whatever we have nowadays. It's just leave the history alone, leave the 21st century alone. Let's just keep them as separate as the time has made it so. The moment I saw that there's gonna be some mix-up where a girl from the 21st century is gonna just get thrown into the Joseon dynasty, I don't know, I felt some kind of tingling on the inside that it was just not gonna be a success. I was persuaded otherwise throughout the drama, but initially there was this shock of like, oh no, why are they doing this kind of thing. One of the best things about the plot of Moon Lovers was the fact that it was so intricate. I mean, there were events that would get tied together from the 4th episode, and then we would understand that something would happen in the 16th episode, and they're all connected, and it's just kind of like this array of situations that come out of each other, and there's so many consequences, and there's so many interesting plot lines that it was never boring for me to watch. You know how in some dramas there are some episodes which just kind of sink and there isn't much going on and you just kind of sit there being like, when is the exciting stuff gonna come up, you know? This drama did not have that. There was always this little hint of surprise or little hint of mystery, like, oh, what are these people gonna do next? And is he gonna marry her? What is gonna happen to this person? Are they gonna die? These kind of questions were there throughout all the 20 episodes, and that's what kept it really exciting. I personally give brownie points to dramas that made me cry. It is really hard to make me bawl hysterically, my eyes out, for like half an hour. And that's exactly what happened to this drama. Remember that time Haesu was wrongly accused of wanting to poison the crown prince, and then she was about to get hanged? And then the court lady, she comes in, saves the day, saves Haesu because she doesn't have long to live, so she gets hanged instead. Yes, that moment. I was crying hysterically so much that I actually had to pause the video, compose myself, take a breather. I went to my flatmate's room and my eyes were so red, I had tear streaks on my face, I was such a mess, and she genuinely thought that someone died or something terrible happened, and then I told her, I'm watching a really sad drama. And she laughed hysterically at me. With that said, there were so many heartbreaking and touching moments in this drama. Like that time when Haesu was putting makeup on Younghee for the last time and then she ends up dying on the back of 8th Prince, and I don't know, there were just so many moments that made me pause and really sit down and think about life and values and human life and just everything. Yeah, but with that said, this drama also had so many funny, interesting moments that kind of lightened up the dark mood of the palace and the terrible life that these royal people have to live. I mean, remember that time when Eun was having his birthday and Haesu organized this really pretty party and she was singing and showing them funny 21st century expressions? That was really refreshing. Her learning how to read and write was so funny with the little smiley faces that she was sending instead of characters because she just didn't know Chinese characters at the time. So it was really nice and heartwarming. These parts were a really good addition to the more serious, more kind of dense parts to this drama, which were also incredibly interesting and incredibly sophisticated in the way they were written by the writers. For example, that super intense scene that I talked about earlier where Wang So actually stood up to save Crown Prince from being poisoned. There was just so much tension in the air and in the drama and in the music. Oh, it was amazingly done. Speaking of the music, the soundtracks were on point. So amazing. I know I always say how soundtracks to dramas are generally amazing and generally really well done, but there are two types of soundtracks, and those are original soundtracks, which are just songs performed by some famous or not so famous artists, and then there is background music, which is performed by various artists. They don't tend to specify who made it. 99% of the time, I really like the background music to pretty much every drama because I feel like background music is a lot easier to like. It has its own mood, there aren't any human voices to kind of distract you from the instruments, and they're usually really pretty. When it comes to original soundtracks, which are just like songs, like K-pop songs really, that is a little bit different. Sometimes some dramas have songs that don't really catch my attention. I don't really think that they're interesting and they're just like any other K-pop song. This K-drama, oh my god. Every song was a masterpiece. I've already made a cover of one and you can check it out on my channel. I'm definitely gonna be making more covers of soundtracks to Moon Lovers, so stay tuned for that. Moving on to the characters, boy, I just have to say I loved every single actor in this drama. They were all in the right place. There was no one who stood out to me as being kind of out of place or just not really right for the role. In terms of the actual characters in the drama, at first I was really confused about their ages, household, and just kind of the chronology of who was born first and why is this guy an 8th prince, but then this guy's a 14th prince, but he's younger or older than him, but I don't know. I was just generally very confused. And I want to thank the production crew for writing the names and the numbers of the princes in like the first couple of episodes, so the knowledge of their names and numbers would kind of stay in our head for later episodes, so that was really well done. But still, it was confusing because they were half brothers and then full brothers, and I just wasn't sure. They just all call each other Hyunnim, so great. This doesn't help. But yeah, it didn't play a big role in the drama itself, but it was just a little bit annoying at the beginning, which I got used to later on. When it comes to picking my favorite character, oh, it is really hard because it's pretty much a tie between Jimong, Court Lady Oh, and the 8th Prince. These choices may be a little bit surprising to you, but personally, when it came to Court Lady Oh, I just loved her selfless, truly feminine character where she had these motherly feelings for Haesu and then she had this unrequited love for the king. Oh, that moment where they were talking to each other and she basically said that she's gonna sacrifice herself for Haesu's sake. Oh, boy, the feels were just overflowing, and she was a momentary character. She was there for just a couple of episodes, but she left such a huge impression on me that I just couldn't forget her until the very end. When it comes to Jimong, I felt like he was a very grounded character and he was very stable throughout the entire drama. It was also really nice to see that Haesu wasn't the only one from the future. It was an interesting twist. It's something I didn't expect, but generally throughout the drama there were so many events happening that would change all the characters, like their mentalities, their opinions, their sides that they would pick, you know? Whereas Jimong just constantly stayed very grounded and had the same values and same principles, so that was just a nice kind of pull that held the entire series together, if that makes sense. Lastly, some of you are gonna ask me, why on earth would you like the 8th prince as a character? He was so mean to Haesu, he completely sacrificed her and didn't care about her, threw her away for the sake of his family, yada yada yada. He went all berserk on everyone. Well, I kind of like characters that make a 180 turn and twist and flip and just completely abandon their original nature and they go against the flow, so that is something that I really liked. The development of his character was really interesting, which also played a big role in the development of the relationship between Haesu and Wangso. Honestly, if the 8th prince would not have gone bad, like if he wouldn't have been put in a situation that he was by his evil sister, who knows? Haesu probably would not have chosen Wangso at the end. Or if she would have, it would have been a much nastier situation. Like she would have been that girl who played one guy and then got seduced by this other guy and cheated on him, something like this. Like she would have ended up being a bad person. Here, he threw her away, she ended up being alone, and she found solace in Wangso. Makes perfect sense. When it comes to evil characters of this drama, they were all great, they were all really, really evil, and I was so happy when the queen just kind of passed away and we didn't have to deal with her anymore. Will there ever be a queen who is genuinely nice and good? Has there ever been a good queen in the history of the world? Lastly, I feel like you guys are wondering, why do I not talk about Haesu's character or Wangso's character? Wangso was great, good acting, interesting development. He was this unloved, thrown away wolf that came back and he still has this kind of nature, which was pretty nice. When it comes to Haesu, she was a very annoying character at times, and my opinion about her would just fluctuate so much. Sometimes I would really like her, she was super strong and made good decisions, other times she was annoying, other times I just didn't get her, and then her whole obsession with Gwangjong at some point just got really annoying. Like, okay, control yourself, you're not gonna die and you're not gonna get a heart attack just because you think that Wangsu is gonna kill everyone. Like, calm down. It's all good for now. In terms of production, I don't really have anything much to say. It was all great. The costumes were great, settings were great, props, makeup, well done. No complaints here. Lastly, I just want to talk about the ending because I feel like a lot of you have really strong opinions about it. Some of you felt like, oh no, Wangso and Haesu had to stay together. How could they kill her? How could this happen? Yada yada. I personally felt like this ending was expected. The fact that she had a little daughter was really cute, and the fact that she wanted her to stay away from the palace was the best decision Haesu has ever made. I liked how she came back to the real world and she remembered everything, except I just have one complaint, actually 2 complaints. When it comes to her little daughter, oh my god, this whole giving birth scene was so unrealistic. Like when Jung came into the room, she had a perfectly flat stomach, whereas she just gave birth and she was supposed to have this huge lump of a stomach. Like your stomach doesn't just inflate back in the moment the baby is out of you. Ugh, it was just not real enough for me. This is a drama that's not supposed to be real life, I get it, fine. But then the second issue I had was at the very end when Haesu was actually remembering all these memories from her time in the Joseon dynasty, there were all these artworks on the walls and they depicted some moments where it's like kind of like, where did you get this art piece from? Like, who was the artist that stood there and painted this moment? I'm pretty sure there were no artists when Lady Myung-hee died, or when Wangso was just standing there alone, or him and Haesu had their secret meetings. Like, this was just really confusing and not logical. But once again, tiny little minor details. I'm picky, I'm sorry. Speaking of minor little details, I'm just gonna talk a little bit about miscellaneous things that made me confused. So in the second episode, overly exaggerated martial arts movements of these assassins were just too much for me. In the same episode, I was so confused why Haesu even ran after the prince, who looked like he was on a mission, a life-threatening mission to go and kill someone. You could see the malice in his eyes and you could see his sword. Like, why would you be so stupid to just bring yourself onto a battlefield? Makes no sense to me once again. In the same episode, I'm pretty sure when there were all these dead assassins that Haesu saw, and then when she brought the guys back, there were no assassins there. They didn't really believe her at first because they were like, oh well, they're gone, there's no more evidence. I mean, there should have been pools of blood left behind these assassins because they were slashed by swords. Where were all these pools of blood? I don't know. This was a very nonsensical episode, I must admit. But the show got me really interested in organic makeup. not gonna lie, I really want to make my own soap now. Another point I was really confused about is that why are all prisoners dressed in white? Like, there must be a reason for someone to be so counterproductive in their thinking, where they would think, oh, let's dress these people who are gonna be rotting in prisons and rolling around on the ground in white so that they're gonna get so dirty. It just doesn't make sense. Also, when Haesu was beaten and tortured and she was in the cell, her robe was covered in blood stains, but it was still really, really pristine white. It just didn't look dirty enough and kind of worn out enough. Alright, that was it for this super long review of this super amazing drama. I hope you all enjoyed watching this review, and I hope you all enjoyed watching the drama as well. Let me know what you thought about it. Do you agree with everything I said? Do you disagree with some things? If you do, please let me know in the comment section below. Let's talk about it. Let's have a discussion like you guys always do, and it's so much fun for me to read the comment section with all your opinions in there, so yay, let's keep it up. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, and yeah, I'll see you all next week. Bye, annyeong!